And I think there are several issues that are important for human beings. And one is to feel connected to other people. And in order to feel connected, we have to feel safe and we have to feel accepted. And often the inner critic is making some effort, no matter how unadaptive or maladaptive, to get us to be more acceptable and therefore more connected. And so the very first thing I want to say about the inner critic is the methods the inner critic uses are not very helpful, but the intention of the inner critic is really, really important. And once we begin to understand the intention of the inner critic, we can begin to work with it a bit better. And of course, the more we strive for perfection, the less we achieve something that is good enough or even excellent, because perfectionism gets in the way. The inner critic often is trying to preserve the relationship with the abuser by telling the client, you're the one who's bad. If you weren't so bad, your parents wouldn't have beat you. You deserved it in some way. And so it is a way to maintain attachment to someone who feels dangerous by making yourself bad instead of the other person. So there are a lot of functions of the inner critic. And I think that we, sorry for skipping over these, but I really don't want to talk about these. We all have inner critics. And so we want to think about what kind of inner critic do we have? And there are those that really emphasize failure, either looking in the past, what I've done in the past is not okay, and therefore I'm not okay, or what I'm going to do, I'm not going to be able to do adequately, and therefore I'm not okay. So it uses the past, present, and future to beat us over the head, because the inner critic is so terrified of failure. It wants us not to try things so that we won't fail. And then, of course, that leads to a whole nother set of failure, like, I wish I had done such and such, but I didn't have the courage to do it, or I felt like I would fail. And that makes me a bad person. And so this is the inner critic's inner logic, which is quite painful for many people. And then there's the inner critic that compares us. Am I good enough, pretty enough? Is my weight adequate? Am I smart enough? Am I as good as my coworkers? Am I a good enough parent? And so those can be legitimate questions. Am I a good enough parent can be reflective and help us move forward. But the way the inner critic presents it is, you're not as good as these other people and you will never measure up. And so we can see that the inner critic has sort of two views of us. Like, my inner critic has a view of me as being, I should be perfect. So it has this idealized version of who Kathy should be, perfect. But it also has this view of Kathy as a horrible, not functional, not okay person. And so there's a sort of perfectionistic piece and a sort of broken piece.
Wasn't that absolutely fantastic? I'm sure that you found a lot of information in this very short video you just saw, maybe like 4 or 5, 6 minutes, however long it was. But that is not all. You can have access to the entire presentation of this amazing speaker, plus 40 more other presentations and speakers, and you can have access for life. You can have access to the video recording, to the audio recording, to the swipe files, to the transcripts, to all of the bonuses and the special gifts that all of the speakers and presenters and also the organizers are offering in the Premium Pass package. So if you like this, if you want more, make sure to sign up below for the Premium Pass and have lifetime access to everything. I'm sure it'll be one of the best investments you've ever made in your life, in yourself, in your practice, in your health, and also with working with